Hi guys, this is Rahul from Finance Excel. Today we would be discussing put call parity. Now put call parity is one of the first concepts that a trader learns in options. Even though the word parity means equivalence, put and call prices are not equal. But the put call parity basically explains that there is a relationship between the call price and the corresponding put price, which we refer to as put call parity. A put call parity is based on the principle of no arbitrage. Now, before diving into the subject matter, we need to discuss what is the principle of no arbitrage. Now, principle of no arbitrage states that two portfolios that have equal or same payoff at expiry should sell at the same price anytime before expiry to prevent arbitrage. So we know that derivatives are priced in such a way that no arbitrage opportunity exists. Right. So put call parity also falls in the same lines. Now, as per put call parity, the cost of a protective put should equal the cost of a fiduciary call because the protective put and the fiduciary call would have the same payoff at expiry. Now, what is a protective put? Now, say there is an investor who holds an underline which is denoted by S. Now, this investor is afraid that he will stand to lose if the underlying goes down. So, to hedge himself, he buys a put option on the underlying, right? And the put option would protect the investor against any downside in the underlying S. And similarly, what is a fiduciary call? Say there is a trader who has bought a call option on the underlying, right? Now, at expiry, the trader needs to pay the exercise price to exercise his right to buy the underlying, right? So, to fund this payment, right, since he needs to pay the exercise price, so to fund the payment of the exercise price, what the trader does is that he invests the present value of the exercise price in a risk-free security. Right. So the cost of protective put should equal the cost of a fiduciary call because both of them have the same payoff at expiry. Right. I will prove right that how do both of them have the same payoff at expiry, but before that we need to understand a certain set of assumptions. Right. So, what are the assumptions of put call parity? First, put call parity is applicable for European options. Now, a short trivia. Most index options around the world are European options, and most stock options are American options, right? So, S0 in this particular equation is the price of the stock or the underlying at time 0 or today. P0 is the price of the put option at time 0 or today. C0 is the price of the call option at time 0 or today. X denotes the exercise price. RF denotes the risk-free rate. And T denotes the time to expiration. One important point to remember is that the call and put that we discussed should have the same underlying and they should have the same exercise price and they should have the same time to expiration, right? So if we have two calls, if we have one call with some exercise price and one put with some other exercise price or a different exercise price, right, then the put call parity won't hold good, right? Say if there is a call that expires in the end of May and say there is a put that expires at the end of June, then also put call parity won't hold good. Right, so put call parity will only hold good when the exercise price of the both the call and put are the same, and the time to expiration of both call and put are the same, and obviously they should be on the same underline. Right. Now, guys, let us take an example. Right. So, guys, here please understand that this is my protective put, right? And this protective put comprises of Nifty spot, right? And a put option on Nifty with an exercise price of 17,000 and an expiry of 28th April, right? So the cost of this protective put, right, should equal the cost of fiduciary call, right? So what is the fiduciary call? Fiduciary call consists of a call option with an expiry of 28th April and a strike price of 17,000, right? And it also includes a risk-free security with a face value which equals the present value of the exercise price, right? So the cost of this protective put should equal the cost of the fiduciary call. Similarly, guys, the cost or price of this protective put, right, should equal the price or cost of this fiduciary call, so on and so forth, right? One important thing to note is, guys, first the put and the call, right, are on the same underlying, which is Nifty, right? Then the other point to note is that the strike price of the put and the strike price of the call are the same, right? The third important point is that the put and the call have the same time to expiration. The put and the call have the same time to expiration, right? And the face value of the risk-free bond, right, is the present value of the exercise price, right? So in the second case, the exercise price is 6,900. So the face value of the bond or the face value of the risk-free bond would be the present value of 16,900. Now, if these conditions are not met within transaction costs, there would be an arbitrage opportunity. Now, why would there be an arbitrage opportunity? Because at expiry, the protective put and a fiduciary call would have the same payoff. Right, guys? So, let's move to the next slide. Guys, we have done a scenario analysis of possible prices of Nifty at expiry. Now let us examine the payoff of the protective put. Right. So guys, when the if spot Nifty expires at 16,500, right? So the payoff from the spot asset would be 16,500. So basically the payoff from spot Nifty would be the price of Nifty at expiry. And we know that guys, the payoff of the put option at expiry is nothing but max of x minus st comma 0, right? That basically means that we will only exercise the put if the price of the spot asset is below 17,000 or if the price of the spot asset is less than the exercise price of 17,000, right? So we would exercise the put option only if the price of Nifty is below 17,000. Otherwise, we won't exercise the put option, right? So guys, this would be the total payoff from the protective put, right? You add the payoff from the spot asset with the payoff from the put option. What you get is the total payoff from the protective put, right? Similarly, guys, let us look at the payoff of the fiduciary call. Right? We hold a call with a exercise price of 17,000 in this case, and we will only exercise the call option if the price of Nifty spot is greater than 17,000. Guys, we would exercise the call option in these cases, right? And we know that the payoff from the call option is nothing but max of st minus x comma 0, right? So if Nifty spot ends at 17,100, right, then the payoff from the 17,000 call would be 100 rupees, right? If Nifty spot ends at 17,200, right, then the payoff from the call with an exercise price of 17,000 would be 200, so on and so forth, right? And guys, we had invested the PV of the exercise price in a risk-free security, right? And at expiry, that bond or that risk-free security would give me the payoff which is equal to the exercise price. So guys, when we add the payoff from the call and the payoff from the risk-free bond, I would get the total payoff from the fiduciary call. Now guys, please note this. Guys, the total payoffs are the same for the protective put and the fiduciary call, guys, irrespective of what the price is, guys, the total payoff. So the payoff of the protective put, if Nifty spot ends at 17,500, is 17,500, and the payoff of the fiduciary call if Nifty spot ends at 17,500 is 17,500. Similarly, the payoff of the protective put if Nifty ends at 17,100 at expiry is 17,100. Similarly, if Nifty spot ends at 17,100 at expiry, the payoff from the fiduciary call is 17,100. Guys, hence proved right that at expiry, the payoff of the protective put shall equal the payoff from the fiduciary call. And since they would have the equal or the same payoff at expiry, they should trade at the same price or the same cost any time before expiry to prevent arbitrage. Right, guys? So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, guys, here I have just given the, the notations to what I had just discussed, right? So what would be the payoff of the protective put, right? So guys, there could be only three states of the world. If the either the price of the underlying can be greater than the exercise price or equal to the exercise price or less than the exercise price, right? So if I had invested in the spot asset, right, at time zero, it will give me the price of the spot asset at expiry, which we denote with ST, right? And this will hold true in all the three states of the world, right? I will not exercise the put option when ST is greater than X or ST equals X. I shall only exercise the put option when ST is less than X, right? Because put option is giving me the right, but it does not carry an obligation. Now in this particular row, I have just added the payoffs, right? So ST plus nil or ST plus 0 is ST. Similarly, this should also give me ST, and when ST is less than X, the protective put should give me a payoff equivalent to the exercise price. And similarly, what should be the payoff of a fiduciary call? Right, I will not exercise the call option when ST equals X or ST is less than X. I shall only exercise the call when ST is greater than X, right? Because it's only when ST is greater than X I would have a positive payoff, right? And similarly, I had invested the present value of the risk-free. I had invested the present value of the strike price in a risk-free security, right? At expiry, that risk-free security should give me a payoff which is equivalent to the exercise price, right? So I add these up, right? I add the payoff from the call option and I add the payoff from the risk free bond. What I get is ST, X, and X, right? Now, guys, we can see that the payoff from the protective put and the payoff from the fiduciary call are equal when ST is greater than X. Similarly, the payoff from the protective put and the payoff from the fiduciary call are equal when ST is less than X. And is when the payoff from the protective put when ST equals X is ST, right? And the payoff from the fiduciary call when ST equals X is X. So you might think that the payoffs are different. No, guys, please note ST is equal to X. So these two payoffs are also equal, right? Because at the end of the day, when ST equals X, this payoff ST can also be written as X. So X is equal to X, right? So guys, we have come to the conclusion that the payoff from the protective put equals the payoff from a fiduciary call at expiry. Right. So S0 plus P0 equals C0 plus X by 1 plus RF to the power T. Now we can use this relationship between put and call prices to create several synthetic positions, right? So what is a synthetic position? Synthetic position is creating a position in the asset without owning the asset. So how can we create a position in the spot asset without owning the spot asset? Right? We can do this by just moving the put option to the right hand side of the equation. Right? So when we move the put option to the right hand side of the equation, our equation looks something like this, right? So we can create a position in the spot asset without owning the spot asset by going long on the call option, going long on the risk-free bond, right, or investing the present value of the exercise price in a risk-free bond and shorting a. Now, guys, the sign on the individual security will indicate whether we need to go long or go short. When the sign is positive, we go long. When the sign is negative, we go short. The other point to note is that the single security on the left hand side of the equation will exactly have the same payoff as the portfolio on the right hand side. Guys, similarly, if we want to create a synthetic position in a put option without owning the put option, what would we do? We would basically buy a call option. We would invest the present value of the exercise price in a risk-free security and short the spot asset, right? And guys, so forth and so on and so forth, right? So guys, this is the idea behind the put call parity. Hope you like this brief intro about put call parity.